April 28th, 2025. Would everybody please stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Megan, would you please make the roll call?
Michael O'Rourke.
Here.
Tom Corris.
Here.
Michael Davis.
Here.
Bill Jarvis.
Here.
Rick Kalinsky.
Thank you. Next up is the approval of the minutes of the Board of Zoning Appeals meeting for January 27th, 2025.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Tom Corris. Is there a second?
Second. Second.
Megan, would you do a roll call for us?
Bill Jarvis.
Yes.
Tom Corris.
Yes.
Michael O'Rourke.
Yes.
Michael Davis.
Yes. Thank you. Motion approved. Next up on the agenda is a cancellation of the May 2025 Board of Zoning Appeals public meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved to cancel the May 2025 meeting.
I'll second.
Bill Jarvis.
Yes.
Michael O'Rourke.
Yes.
Tom Corris.
Yes.
Michael Davis.
Yes. Motion passes. Next up on is BZA case number 25-4-5, 917 to 955 Eagle Ridge Drive, proposed indoor climate-controlled self-storage building. General location, 917 to 955 Eagle Ridge Drive, Golden Corral Addition, Lot 2, extension north of 25 feet. Petitioners, Broadfield LLC, represented by attorney James L. Weiser, Weiser and Wiley LLP, request a variance of use as required by ordinance number 2004, Title 16, Section 5, Paragraph C3. Purpose to allow the construction of an indoor climate-controlled self-storage building within the US 41 Commercial Corridor Overlay District. Mr. Attorney, do we have proofs of publications?
We do. Publication and notices appear to be in order.
Thank you very much. Would the petitioner like to step forward and to the podium and introduce themselves?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the BZA. My name is Jim Weiser. I'm the attorney for the project. My offices are located at 429 West Lickett Highway here in Schererville. I have with me this evening, and he will come up here just shortly after I make a brief presentation, principals of Broadfield LLC. I have John Lund and Michael Lund. They are making this proposal this evening. I'd like to begin just simply by telling you that Jonathan here, Lund, has been doing this, when I say been doing this, been in the field of construction, developing property and constructing climate-controlled indoor storage facility for a number of years, and has done a number of them in the immediate area. And I will, if I can, because I appreciate putting that up. There's the parcel of property which Broadfield proposes to develop is located, as you can see it, right there. It's almost, I'm not suggesting it is, but it's almost like a remnant piece of property. It's from the Home Depot development. But as you can see, it's a very irregular shaped lot with a Phillips petroleum line bisecting the property. So it's challenging in terms of getting it properly developed and putting something up that will be of real benefit to the community and to the taxpayers and to those people that want to avail themselves of the facility, which I've sent you or given each of you an example of the work and what Jonathan thinks will be not necessarily the same thing, because you never know what will happen, but essentially it'll look just like that. So it's proposed to on this parcel of property. I would point out, I want to point out at the beginning that in this particular case, this is really the first step. We are, because of what Jonathan has in mind, we're going to be required to go to the Plan Commission for re-subdivision. We're obviously going to be required to meet the, if we're fortunate enough to be successful here and before the town council, we'll be required to bring forth plans and plans that meet the requirements of Schererville, the Plan Commission and the building and the different requirements that are in the 41 overlay district. So as you can see, that parcel's, it's off of US 41. I'm confident you're all familiar with the location. It's bounded by Eagle Creek Drive. It's abutted by the railroad tracks. As I said before, it's kind of a unique parcel, but we think that's really beneficial to the use that for which he intends to develop, because it's unobtrusive. First of all, when you see the building, it should be obtrusive, but because it's a beautiful building. But this is located with great access from several different directions. You could come in off of 41. You could come in off of Old Airport Road, that's what I call it. You could come in off of Eagle Creek Drive. One thing I would stress is in a lot of discussion with my client, traffic generation by these facilities is among the lowest rated traffic generation of any facility. So that is not going to be a burden, and of course that's an issue that we will take up with the Plan Commission at the appropriate time. I want to just give you just a few little items of information, then I'd like Jonathan just to come up and expound a little bit on what he does and how he does that. Typically, the hours of operation are from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. It's 7 days a week. It's a gated facility, the operation of the facility. One thing I did want to mention before Jonathan gets up here is the nature of this facility, given the style and nature of its composition, of how it's going to be constructed and the size that it's going to be, we estimate will generate about $100,000 a year in real estate taxes for this community, or certainly as how it's distributed among the units of government. And that's sizable. And we're happy to let you know that and pleased to let you know that. So this is basically the layout. It's, as you can see, it's located adjacent to the rear portion of Golden Corral. And what I'll do is I'll have Jonathan come up here briefly, and then I'll come back and comment on how I believe we satisfy the statutory requirements. So I thank you for your time, and Jonathan, why don't you come up and expound a little bit on it? Okay, appreciate that. Okay.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Lund. I'm from Barrington, Illinois. So Jim said everything pretty much as far as the kind of the who, what, why, where stuff. This is the where of it. The what is climate-controlled self-storage. So a lot of people are familiar with self-storage as, we call them sort of traditional storage, which is just a garage. And you pull up to it and you open your door and it's dirty and it's not heated or cooled. So if it's 0 outside, your stuff's all freezing. This is the next generation of that. This is climate control, so we're literally going to heat and cool it. It's going to be clean, you know, no dust. It's going to be controlled with security cameras and whatnot for people coming in and out. So it's really kind of a high-end self-storage. And it's happening all over the country, and it's coming to Northwest Indiana now. And we just, you know, there's a big demand for it. If folks have a choice between sort of put it in a garage or put it in something like this, many times, you know, most of the time they'll say we'd rather have that. We can get the price points down to where it's not an exorbitant price, and we find a lot of demand for it. So we just feel it's going to be a great asset to the community. You know, it's something that they maybe not, they don't have right now, and something that there's a few of them in the area, and you know, they're pretty full. And with this one, you know, potentially prices actually come down a little bit. So that's the reason for it. The other one I like to say is we don't ask for a variance of use to go, hey, let's put this at Main and Main. You know, we're not saying, hey, we want to put this in the best location in town, give us a variance for that. We chose this site on purpose. For our purposes, we get a lot of benefits for it. We get traffic off of Route 41. In that Route 41 is literally 30 feet up in the air because it's going over the railroad tracks at that point. So that's kind of why we say, hey, this is a win-win potentially site, because it's obviously it's vacant, it's been vacant for many, many years, and we feel like we can put a use that is really productive for it. Folks need it, and we don't ask for a variance for sort of a Main and Main site. We get it. That's not really a good spot for it. So that's really, you know, the gist of it is that there's some demand for it. We think the location's a good use. We think it's a win-win location. Jim mentioned the taxes generated. Just in general, the community benefits a lot based on the size of the building is going to get taxed as if it's like a Home Depot, meaning the girth of a Home Depot. So it has a large tax bill, and the community obviously benefits from that. If there's another use, you know, if for some reason we get denied, something else goes in there, you know, it may only generate $20,000 in taxes forever. So we feel like this is a good use in that regard as well. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
John, just one question I have for you. What made you select Schererville for this endeavor?
Sure. I actually grew up in Crown Point, went to high school in Crown Point, then moved to Illinois with my family and father and followed that kind of track. And I've always said, I was up there building self-storage actually, and I was like, boy, this is great. You know, the region needs it, type of a thing. I've always wanted to kind of come back. And I've actually, you know, it's interesting, one of the demand generators for Northwest Indiana is flight from Illinois' high taxes. I've kind of experienced that in Cook County, Illinois, actually, and it's amazing how much the taxes are there. And it's just kind of a right time to do it. The business has matured. I've been doing this since, I think I built my first one in like 1996 over there. So I've been in it a long time. I've watched it grow. And I've always kind of wanted to come back. Then I actually come back too with I look at sites much differently now, and I've learned a lot over the years. And the reason I like, from a business perspective, I like the site is the traffic on 41. That's something I really like. And like I said, I don't really want to, you know, I'd love it on, you know, Main and Main in the corner. That'd be great for me. But I realize that's not great for sort of the community and whatnot. So in this site, I get that benefit of the traffic, and I get the retail location, which is also another kind of a step up for the newer generation self-storage. It's not necessarily you have to, you know, if a wife is taking something to the storage unit and it's at the back end of a industrial park, it's not the best place for necessarily for them to go at the end of the day, whatever, in the winter. This is, you can go to Home Depot, then you can kind of go to the storage unit and kind of go from there. So that's sort of the growth of storage and kind of where it's going. It's becoming more and more a part of folks' life. And this is the highest end stuff out there. So it's, you know, that's kind of why I'm coming back here. I feel like it's a good win-win. And the traffic on 41 is really attractive.
Thank you, John. Thank
Yeah.
you for that. I want to bring it back to the board. Any questions from board members?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
John,
Ms. Dunn.
how many units?
It's roughly, I'm going to say, I'm guessing a little bit, but let's say there's 100 square foot average unit size. If we build, because we're building the climate controlled, if I build a 100,000 square foot building, because I have hallways, I have a lot of, I get less storage out of that. I get maybe 70% of that. So let's say I build a 100,000 square foot building, I only get 70,000 net rentable, I'd call it. Whereas if I built a, you know, a single story metal type building, you know, that's 100% rentable. This was 70% rentable. So 100,000 square foot building, 70% rentable, 70,000 net rentable, 100, so that's roughly 700 units. They'd be as small as 5 foot by 5 foot, so 5 foot deep, 5 foot around, 8 foot tall. It's like a big closet. Then it's kind of a walk-in closet, double that. Then it's like a small bedroom, 10 by 10. And it's like a large bedroom.
Different sizes throughout?
Say again?
Different sizes throughout?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then there's a staff person, to a sales office, if you would, or whatever?
Technology is very deep into this business as well, meaning access control keypads, apps to get in and out, apps to pay your bill, apps to communicate with folks. Office hours are typically like 9 to 5, just standard office hours. There's opportunities that you can literally rent a unit on the app. You don't have to talk to anybody. You could literally rent a unit by, you know, there's technology for that now. But office hours staffed 9 to 5. Access hours, typically 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Okay, so if I got a unit already, the computers will let me in at 6 a.m. There's a small group of people that potentially can pay some more to get 24-hour access. That's typically, folks have to pay for that. They don't want it as much. We kind of charge a lot for that. But it's technically, you know, not allowed, but possible, I guess.
And it looks as if it's at least 2 stories, is that accurate?
This would be 3 stories in this location. And so this one, also one of the designs is it's a drive-in situation. So if you look at the picture that Jim provided, you literally would go, I can kind of explain a little further, but you drive into the area and you kind of pull to the side a little bit so people can get around you, but then you're inside. One of the things we've learned is in Chicago, like 300 out of the 365 days are inclement weather, whether it's wind, cold, rain, you know, just anything. So what this allows also is loading, unloading in a, it's not necessarily climate controlled because it's so open, but it's covered area. And then folks, what they typically would do is we offer free kind of a cart system where you grab a cart, put it on there, and you just roll it to where you got to go. If you're on a 3rd floor, you roll it into an elevator, and you just go up, and you come out, and you go. Typically, again, the designs are, the walk you have to go is, you know, we keep it down to maybe 150 feet. You ever have to kind of move. That's kind of why the designs are kind of long, and you enter in the middle. The elevators are centrally located. So that's all kind of thought through. Then there's price point breaks there, business-wise. There's price point breaks. You know, if you have to go to the third floor and way in the back, sometimes you can get a discount for that. You know, there's ways to discount. If you've got one right here, right in the front, hey, you're going to pay a little more. So there's different options for that as well.
You're familiar with the one in Dyer?
Absolutely.
And this does not look as big as that? Is that
That one's just the same size.
Oh, really?
That's a 2-story facility, and I'm very familiar with it. I know everything about it, frankly. I know what they're renting for all the units.
No, that's not your, that's
No,
not
it's
your
not
property,
mine.
though.
But I know everything about that one. But that's, folks, one of the things with that is folks have, one of the big testing points, I guess. I built one years and years ago in the suburbs of Chicago. I was really worried about sort of suburban folks putting their stuff in an elevator. It was like, I didn't think it would happen, but they did, and went up and then went to their place. That one, again, has proven the concept. That one's probably 85% occupied, rented up very fast, with the rates are, you know, decent rates. But it's almost full. That one's almost full in roughly 18 months. So it's very similar to that. That's a very similar product.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions from board members?
Mr. Chairman, I have
Mr.
a few.
Okay.
I guess you come back up again.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Going back to Mr. Weiser, I thought he mentioned something about a gas line.
Yeah,
Is that going through the middle of the property, or?
I get straight through the property is 60-foot easement.
The diagonal line?
This goes to why I'm choosing this site and trying to, you know, why I feel it's good. It's a win-win site for the community. Is, yeah, see that red line?
Yeah.
There's a 60-foot easement running on, you know, 30 on each side of that. There's 2 lines that are running through there, gas, high-pressure gas lines. Buckeye runs it. So ultimately, after looking at the site, I like the site in general, but now looking at it further, it sort of naturally divides into 2 lots. And we're talking to Jim and whatnot, and we feel the storage can fit on the lot closest to 41, and we could have another open roughly 1.8 acres or 1.5 acre lot over here as well.
Okay, that was my other question. How large is this? So you're just putting this?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, there you go.
So on the red building, the yellow is that drive-through area I mentioned where you drive into it, and then you load and unload, and then you drive out and around. The red is a 3-story climate-controlled building. You know, the blue in the back is more just for if we need any kind of retention pond or anything like that. It's kind of designed. But the green on the left is an open lot that we would basically market as, you know, standard overlay district type usage lot that anybody could go there. You know, again, I don't think it's not a great lot for like you know, an auto parts store or something like that. I think it's a tough lot because it's not getting the frontage that those folks really want. But it could be like I've been thinking like maybe a daycare there would be nice, that type of thing.
So where is the entrance then to your proposed?
This is all covered by an easement from its original Home Depot development from the 90s. I don't even know when it was, but way back then. This was all part of that. So the stormwater management's all included in that. The access easements. So we have access easements through the Home Depot parking lot. So folks could come in, go to Home Depot, and kind of keep coming. If you see that one to the over where it says Golden Corral, right by the corral word there, there's an actual already, you know, it's already in the it's in the pavement, you know, an access
Okay,
point right
so
there.
you'd have a gate there?
Yeah, well, no, it wouldn't be. There's no
No?
gates needed for this
Okay.
property. In the yellow, you're going to enter, if you look at the photograph, basically there's an overhead door that you would punch a code into. There's no fencing at all, because there's nothing outside. Everything's inside.
That was one of my questions. This is
Yeah.
100% inside.
100%,
We're not going to
100%
see trailers parked there or anything else?
Like that.
Even with the other parcel? Or
Nope.
the other part
Yeah,
of it?
well, no, I mean, we're not gonna develop it. Hopefully, we're gonna sell it to someone else and they build a daycare center or something there.
Okay.
That's totally under, the regular overlay district rules.
Okay, that's it.
Thank you, Mr. O'Rourke. Thank you, John.
Yep.
Any other questions from board members? If not, we're going to open it up to the floor. Is there anyone out would like to step up and make any comments or ask any questions? If not, we're going to bring it back to the board see if anyone has any additional questions.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Jarvis.
I'm not sure, Jim, if you wanted to answer it, or John. What's the height of the building? 41 is 30 feet, so I'm assuming this is roughly about 40 feet?
Yeah, it's going to require a variance.
I think with, parapets and that kind of thing, maybe 40 feet, but like roof height is typically like 12 foot a floor, so 36 might top out the floor with the roof pitch and the parapet. Maybe
Yeah, I
40
did the
40 at
math
the
and
top.
figured
Yeah,
it'd be close to 40.
Exactly.
Okay. And are you going to have any outdoor storage whatsoever?
No,
None?
no.
No trailers, no cars, no?
They're a pain in the butt. I don't even want them.
Just ask. Gotta ask.
I've learned my lesson.
Understood.
How hard it is to get a title from a car that you have no idea where it was from?
Actually, I do. That was all I had.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jarvis.
Yeah,
Mr. Weiser, was there something you wanted to
Ye-
communicate?
Yes, I wanted to make sure that I complete the record that I believe we need to complete to satisfy the requirements that you need to consider. And so I'm just going to mention the statutory requirements. The first is that if were you to approve this, it would not be injurious to the public health or safety or welfare, and I think we've demonstrated how choosing this particular parcel satisfies that requirement by what we've already, by what John's testified to and what I've stated. Then the second is the use and value of the area adjacent to property the values will not be negatively impacted. It says, the statute says in an adverse manner, and clearly it's not going to negatively impact. If anything, I think might enhance some values, but it certainly isn't going to negatively impact any values in that particular area. It's consistent with what the rest of in fact, it's, in my opinion, going to be even nicer, an upgrade from what's in that particular area. I mean, with Home Depot and Golden Corral, I think this is something that really fits in nicely and certainly won't negatively impact it. Then the one that's always a bit of a stickler is the use. The variance arises from some conditions for the use of the property, and that was part of the reason. And I'm glad you asked the question about the easement that goes through there, because it is a pretty unique parcel of property and a real challenge to develop this parcel of property because of because of its just its shape, the topography of it, the line that goes through there. And I think that, and those are conditions that are peculiar to that parcel of property, but we found a good use to take advantage, not necessarily take advantage, but to make that usable and developable property, because as John mentioned before, it's been undeveloped for many years. So we think that satisfies that criteria. And then the approval doesn't substantially interfere with the comprehensive plan. I know I've certainly been round on this for a number of years with the overlay district and certain uses that it doesn't even necessarily exclude. It just, they're not permitted. And, we've done them, I think, to the benefit of this community for a number of years, whether it be, I actually did I don't even know what it's called now, Cube Smart or whatever what it's called now that's on 30. That was, I think, one of the first significant ones. I did that one, but we've also developed senior citizen facilities and a number of really beautiful facilities in both the US 30 and US 41 corridors that I think have really benefited the community. So For all those reasons, we believe we've satisfied the statutory criteria and are looking for your favorable recommendation to the town council. So thank you very much for your time.
Okay, so going to bring it back to the board. Is there a recommendation?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Curris?
BZA case 25-4-5, 917 through 955 Eagle Ridge Drive, proposed indoor climate control self-storage building, general location 917 to 955 Eagle Ridge Drive, Golden Corral Edition, Lot 2, number 25 feet. Petitioner Broadfield LLC, represented by Attorney James L. Weezer and Wiley, requesting a variance of use as required by ordinance number 2004, Title 16, Section 5, Paragraph C3. The purpose to allow the construction of an indoor climate-controlled self-storage building within the US 41 Commercial Corridor Overlay District. Motion for a favorable recommendation to the Town Council.
We have a favorable motion from Mr. Curris. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Weezer. Megan, could you do roll call?
Mr. Jarvis.
Mr. Jarvis, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Mr. Jarvis.
Michael O'Rourke,
Yes.
Bill Jarvis.
Yes.
Tom Corris.
Yes.
Michael Davis.
Yes. Motion is approved. Thank you. Next on the agenda, BZA case 25-4-6, 703 US 41, proposed drive-through lanes, general location, 703 US 41, Shops of Schererville, Lot 2, petitioner Raising Cane's Restaurants, LLC, and Premier Design Group, represented by Premier Design Group, Deborah Stoltz, and Raising Cane's project manager Felicia Bevins. Request a variance of uses required by ordinance number 2004, Title 16, Section 5, Paragraph C3. Purpose to allow drive-through lanes within the US 41 Commercial Corridor Overlay District. Mr. Attorney, do we have the proofs of publications?
Proof of publication and notice are in order.
Okay, so do we have representatives that would like to step to the podium? And state your name, please.
Good evening. I'm Debbie Stokes with Premier Design Group. We're the civil engineers for Raising Cane's. I also have Felicia, Raising Cane's project manager, with me. As you said, we're looking to get a variance of use approval for the drive-through lane. Although a drive-through lane is allowed in the C3 zoning, it is not allowed in the US 41 overlay district, which I'm sure you're all aware of. We will be tearing down, this is the existing TGI Fridays lot, if any of you are aware. The building will be demolished. We will be keeping part of the parking, then adding new parking, adding a double drive-through lane, and the building will be about 3,300, 3,400 square feet. We're providing 50 parking spaces. 46 are required based off our seating count and the number of employees we have. We will also be providing 23 stacking spaces. Again, I believe 4 are required per drive-through lane. The secondary drive-through lane, just to give you an idea, the one on the outside is for peak times. That's when that one would be used. It would not be used all the time. Like I said, that's pretty much it. I'd be happy to answer any questions, or if you need more information, I have Felicia here as well.
Okay, thank you, Debbie. Are there any questions from board members?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
just a quick question. How, like your average store, how much business is done by the drive-through and how much is sitting in the store?
Typically, and Felicia may have to answer this, in the past, it's between 60 to 70%. That may have increased since COVID, but typically that is what we're used to seeing. That changed? That's still good? So, yeah, so it's about 60, 70%. And Canes, I mean, they typically, their drive-through orders typically take 3 minutes. From the time you order to the time you pick up your meal, it's 3 minutes. So,
I'm very familiar with your operation being on Cicero Avenue going to Midway Airport. You are quick. Okay, thank you for that.
Any other questions from board members? If not, we're going to open it up to the floor. Are there any questions from any members of our audience this evening? If not, we'll bring it back to the board for any subsequent questions. Any questions? Well, if there's not any questions, is there a recommendation from any board member?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Jarvis?
BZA case 25-4-6, 703 US 41, proposed drive-through lanes, general location 703 US 41, shops of Schererville Lot 2, petitioner Raising Cane's Restaurant LLC and Premier Design Group, represented by Premier Design Group Debbie Stolas and Raising Cane's project manager Felicia Bevins. The request is development variance of use as required by ordinance number 2004, Title 16, Section 5, Paragraph C3. Purpose to allow drive-through lanes within the US 41 Commercial Corridor Overlay District. I make a favorable recommendation to the Town Council.
Have a favorable recommendation from Mr. Jarvis. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second from Mr. O'Rourke. Megan, would you do the honors?
Tom Corus.
Yes.
Bill Jarvis.
Yes.
Michael O'Rourke.
Yes.
Michael Davis.
Yes. Motion passes. Thank you.
thank you very much.
BZA case 25-4-7. And before I go any further, I would just like to say we're going to hear and discuss both of these collectively, but we will be voting independently for each of these two different cases here. BZA case 25-4-7, 8407 Burr Street, Gary L. Williamson, general location 8407 Burr Street. Petitioner Gary L. Williamson requests developmental variance as required by ordinance number 2004, Title 4, Section 7, Paragraph A, to allow the construction of a 1,120 square feet detached garage. Additionally, BZA case 25-4-8, 8407 Burr Street, Gary L. Williamson, general location, 8407 Burr Street. Petitioner Gary L. Williamson requests a developmental variance as required by ordinance number 2004, Title 4, Section 3, Paragraph B, to allow a detached garage height of 16 feet 6 inches. Mr. Attorney, do we have proof of publications?
We do. Everything looks good.
Thank you. Mr. Williamson, would you like to step forward and introduce yourself and tell us a little about what you're going to do here?
Okay. My name's Gary Williamson, and I've tried to do the math as far as the allotment of 1,000 square feet that the town allots, and trying to fit everything in there between putting 2 cars in there, a trailer in there, a motorcycle in there, bikes in there, and everything like that. I've come to a conclusion I need the extra 120 square feet more than what's allotted for the garage.
Okay, and the garage height was 16 feet 6 inches. Would you like to expound on that as well?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
And I'd like to put 10-foot ceilings in the garage, which I don't think are unreasonable. With that 10-foot ceiling, my trusses are going to be about 6 feet for proper roof pitch for shingles. And with a ridge vent on there, I'm probably gonna come out somewhere around 16 feet, maybe 2 inches, 16 feet, 3 inches. That's why I'm asking for the 16 foot 6 inches. That way I know I'll be within the variance that I'm asking for.
Okay. Okay, any questions from board members?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Jarvis?
is it your plans to put a lift in there?
No, it is not.
Okay, because I was going to say you better go at least
I don't plan
11.
on working on cars. I
No,
mean,
no,
other
I'm-
than changing out maybe the oil on the tractor.
Trust me, that's not what I was asking. But you did need at least 11 feet. So you're just going to have a lot of storage in front of the bays, for example? And then are you going to have storage, or is it a truss setup?
I'm looking about having a hip roof with trusses.
Okay. What size are the garage doors?
It'll be a double 16-foot, 8-foot high,
8 foot?
and I'll have a single that'll be 9-foot wide by 8-foot high. So I'll have a spot for 2 cars, a trailer. Like I say, by the time I get a motorcycle in there, I'd like to have a workbench to be able to, like I say, if I want to rotate my tires or, just have tools, along with the other things you end up putting in a garage that just end up taking up space, which I'm sure you guys are all aware of.
Very aware of.
Any other questions from board members?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Corus?
Mr. Williamson, what is behind, I see the house, and then this goes behind the house, and what would be behind the garage? Is that homes back there, or what is back there?
I'm not sure where you're talking about.
Okay, so the garage
Is in the yellow.
is in the yellow. What would be behind that? What is,
That's all open land.
that's all land back there?
Yeah,
So it's not like there's no home, there's no homes or anything back there?
correct.
Okay.
This is a 5-acre piece of property, just so you're aware of. So, like I say, the impact that the garage is going to be very minimal on that sized lot.
Any other questions from board members?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman?
Mr. O'Rourke?
So this is actually turned. Your yellow is the north side of your property, correct?
Correct.
And on the drawing that we have, it says Asphalt Drive, just north of that? What is that?
I'm not sure where you're seeing that.
See where it says Asphalt Drive at the very top, above your
Oh,
property line?
that would be the neighbor's property. That's not my property.
Okay, I think that's what and that existing garage, that's theirs,
Correct.
okay?
Well, yeah, that would be the neighbor's property.
And the distance between, as shown here, is 9 foot to the property line?
I'm going to be 8 feet off the property line.
And that's okay with the town?
Yep.
Okay. All right, and there's no water or anything running, no lowlands or wetlands or anything?
No,
That would cause a problem for the neighbor to the north?
there would be no such problems with that.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Jarvis?
Denise, I have a quick question. We're showing the garage being the yellow. Now, is there a second garage towards the back of this parcel? Because that's all one parcel, correct?
Yes, it's a 5-acre piece, I believe. There's a little shed or something in the back that's.
Says 1.5-story frame garage.
It's basically a glorified shed. It's,
Okay. So it's not another garage?
no.
Okay. I'm just making clear of that. Okay.
So, Mr. Williamson, so what you're saying is that there's a building on the east side of your property, right at the back there. Is that what you were just talking about?
That's what he was just
Yeah.
questioning.
Okay, so that's not a garage?
No, it's basically a glorified shed.
Okay. Okay.
There's no way you can park a vehicle in that thing.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions from board members?
The
Mr. O'Rourke?
property owner north of you, have they expressed any comments about what you're doing since it's going to be right there?
They have no problem. I've spoken to them about it, and they have no problem with me putting up a garage there.
Okay. And that's their garage, or is that a house?
That would be their garage.
Their garage, okay. Oh, I see the house now. Okay.
So, Mr. Williamson, the new garage is going to be, is it going to be on the east side of the house, so it's going to be back to where that shed is at? That you stated, the new, is it going to be? Okay. Okay, so it's going to, okay, I got it.
It'd be about where your pointer is circling.
Gotcha. Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions from board members? If not, I'm going to open it up to the floor. Are there any questions from any members of the audience? Okay, so we'll bring it back to the board. Any additional questions from board members? If not, then do we have a motion from any board member?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Jarvis.
BZA case 25-4-7, 8407 Burr Street, Gary L. Williamson, general location 8407 Burr Street, petitioner Gary L. Williamson requests development variance as required by ordinance number 2004, Title 4, Section 7, Paragraph A, to allow the construction of a 1,120 square foot detached garage. I make a motion to approve pursuant to all state, local, federal regulations.
We have a motion to approve by Mr. Jarvis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Kuros. Megan?
Michael O'Rourke,
Yes?
Bill Jarvis.
Yes.
Tom Corris.
Yes.
Michael Davis.
Yes. Motion approved.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
BZA case 25-4-8, 8407 Burr Street, Gary L. Williamson, general location 8407 Burr Street, petitioner Gary L. Williamson. The request is development variance as required by ordinance number 2004, Title 4, Section 3, Paragraph B, purpose to allow a detached garage height of 16 foot 6 inches. I make a motion to approve pursuant to all state, local, federal regulations, and that the garage doors not exceed 8 foot.
We have a motion for approval from Mr. Jarvis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Kuros. Megan?
Michael O'Rourke,
Yes?
Bill Jarvis.
Yes.
Tom Corris.
Yes.
Michael Davis.
Yes. Motion approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is commission business, findings of fact, BZA case 25-1-1, 751 Lincoln Highway, proposed automotive service station with car wash and retail development center, petitioner Family Express Corporation, represented by Weiser and Wiley LLP, attorney James L. Weiser. Variance of use is required by ordinance number 2004, Title 16, Section 4, Paragraph C, to allow the operation of an automotive service station within the US 30 Commercial Corridor Overlay District, which shall include a retail development center. Unfavorable recommendation to the Town Council 5-0, January 27, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Second?
We have a motion for approval from Mr. Jarvis and second from Mr. O'Rourke. Megan, would you do the honors?
Bill Jarvis.
Yes.
Michael O'Rourke.
Yes?
Tom Corris.
Yes.
Michael Davis.
Yes. Motion approves. BZA case 25-1-2, 26 Maple Court, Ronald C. and Maine DeCastro, petitioners Dimension Fence Incorporated, Ray Hall III and Hannah Jackson. Developmental variance is required by ordinance number 2004, Title 17, Section 14, paragraph A, to allow construction of a 6-foot-high privacy fence to extend 16 feet over the 20-foot building line on a corner lot. Approved 5-0, January 27th, 25.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Approval by Mr. Curris. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. O'Rourke. Megan?
Bill Jarvis.
Yes.
Michael O'Rourke.
Yes.
Tom Corris.
Yes.
Michael Davis.
Yes. Motion approved. BZA case 25-1-3, Brian Lance, proposed Jarrett's Southern View, lots 8 and lot 23, petitioners Brian Lance, represented by DVG Team Incorporated engineer Doug Reddick, developmental variance as required by ordinance number 2004, Title 4, Section 4, paragraph D2, to allow a reduction of the side yard setback from 30 feet to 20 feet on the corner lots 8 and 23 of the proposed development, approved with contingencies for all January 27th, 25. Is there approval?
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Approval by Mr. Curris, second.
I'll second it.
Second, Mr. Jarvis.
Michael O'Rourke.
Yes.
Bill Jarvis.
Yes.
Tom Corris.
Yes.
Michael Davis.
Yes. Motion approved. BZA case 25-1-4, Brian Lance, proposed Jarrett Southern View, lots 14 to lot 17, petitioner Brian Lance, represented by DVG Team, Inc., engineer Doug Reddick, developmental variances required by ordinance number 2004, Title 4, Section 4, paragraph C, to allow reduction of the required 30 feet front yard setback to 25 feet on lots 14 through 17 of the proposed development. Approved 4-0, January 27th, 25. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Curl, second. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. O'Rourke.
Bill Jarvis.
Yes.
Michael O'Rourke.
Yes.
Tom Corris.
Yes.
Michael Davis.
Yes. Motion approved. If there's not anything else, we are adjourned. Thank you for your attention. Thank you, sir. Thank you.